Hey everybody, it's Friday. Hope you're gonna have an amazing weekend. It's time for SMG Viewers Comments episode number 199. Let's get right to it.
Please help. Any advice is welcome. Earlier this week, we had to kick out the main vocalist of our band due to his struggles with substance abuse. Showing up, unable to stand in the studio, not paying along for expenses, etc. He then later posted on Instagram, "We are all a bunch of liars and terrible people." He has a way bigger Instagram following on his account than we do. What should be our next move?
Well, James, congratulations on doing the most important thing, and that's kicking that loser the fuck out of your band. Seriously, work with people who are easy to work with. If they're gonna be difficult, it's not worth dealing with them. That's why session players, good session players, are worth their weight in gold. Sorry you've had such a dick in your band, then you have to deal with this crap. So if he's slagging you off on Instagram, I wouldn't worry about it too much. See, the one thing is it's really impossible to keep secrets on social media. Jared Threaten found out the hard way last year when he went and toured Europe and made up this giant bullshit story about all these followers, blah, blah, fucking blah, that never actually materialized, and nobody came out to any of his shows, and then he became a laughingstock. Do any of you guys have any video of this shit? I mean, like, this shit is really easy. If he's stumbling through the studio acting like a complete moron, all you have to do is put up a 30-second clip of him on Facebook and tag him like, oh, this is the guy who's saying we're horrible people. Here's what he's really like. Now, if you guys were smart, you would have got that on video at one point or another. And if you didn't, well, you only got yourselves to blame. So something to keep in mind for future reference, though, if you're working with somebody who is difficult and you think you're going to have to throw them out because of substance abuse problems, yeah, get some backup video just in case they try dragging your name through the mud. All you gotta say is, hey, here's the proof. As I always say, don't get mad, get video. No, I don't. I get mad on video.
Do you feel the quality of music has gotten better with modern technology and recording methods, or is it just easier and faster to get the same results?
Well, I think it's gotten a lot easier to make really boring records, really boring, perfect records. That's become incredibly easy. We hear them all the time. I think that's called modern metal. But making great records, well, we haven't heard one of those in a long time now, have we?
I know it wasn't mentioned in this video anyway, but you have mentioned it a lot previously. I work around injection molding presses at work and am required to take a hearing test through my employer. My hearing was tested from 500 hertz to 8 kilohertz. It wasn't until I was in a true isolated environment that I noticed a pretty profound ringing in my right ear inconsistently. Now I'm aware of it more than it's noticeable. This hearing test shows that 6 to 8K range, I have severe hearing loss in my left ear. I've been working at this plant for 5 years and have never wore ear protection. I played in bands and played shows without ear protection. Seriously, it was a wake-up call. Wear hearing protection, people. I'm experiencing hearing loss and tinnitus. I'm 26 years old.
Daniel, I am so sorry to hear that. And please, guys, take his words to heed. Pay attention to what the man is saying. I've worked in manufacturing for 25 years and I've still got my hearing. Why? Because I put fucking earplugs in every time I walked into the fucking plant. I used to stamp bumpers before I had the 25-year job, and it was loud as fuck. Yeah, immediately, as soon as you walk in the door, even before you get in the door, earplugs go in. Do not take chances with your hearing, kids. Seriously, because you only get one chance to get it right. Because you fuck your ears up, you are done. There's no undo button. Same thing goes for band practice. You know, working with earplugs is great. Actually, when I sang in a band, I used to put earplugs in and I could actually hear myself a little bit better because you got the skull resonances. Fortunately, now due to modern technology, we have really cool things like these. These are in-ear monitors from Stealth Sonics. And I just had these made custom for me at NAMM, and I finally got them the other day, and oh, fuck, are they ever great. And these things are custom molded to my ears. They, you just twist them in and it's like a perfect seal so you can hear exactly what's going on. And yeah, these things are just fucking magnificent. Didn't have these when I was a kid, but wow, I would have killed for a set of these at band practice, that's for sure. And for those of you guys who are worried about the cost, just remember this. Your hearing is priceless. It's definitely worth the investment in yourself. Definitely might want to take a look at a set of in-ears one way or another. Just some way to be able to hear yourself at practice without having to worry about going deaf. I've still got a bit of loss on this side because somebody threw a firecracker at me when I was 18. Yeah, thanks a lot, you dick. But for the most part, I've managed to do okay. I don't have any issues with tinnitus or anything like that. I just, make sure I move my head around a little bit. But please, guys, whatever you do, take care of your hearing.
Hey Glenn, I'm 16 years old and I write a lot of songs and me and all my mates reckon I'm pretty good at it. I've been trying to get a band together for about a year now, but I can't find anyone who can play them or even be bothered to stick around. I'd like to mix genres and all that sort of thing, so do you think it's going to be hard to find people who would be cool playing rock and roll headbanger and then doing an operatic jazz ballad? Fuck you from Australia.
Tate, that's fucking magnificent, dude. Here's my thoughts. Write what you like. Write what you think makes sense. you know what? You might just be the next big thing. Who the fuck knows? Nobody can tell for sure. Just, try and find the right people to work with. The great thing is you're only 16. I had never even found a bass player until I was 19 and I started playing in college bands. For the life of me, could never find a bass player in high school. We had a few friends who played drums. We had a few friends who played guitar, but nobody fucking played bass at all, ever. So, and high school can be a very limiting environment for musicians because, you got one small circle of friends. So my suggestion would be write your ass off, write as much as you possibly can, and maybe by the time you get around to college and start working with a few more musicians that are available in the local pool, you might be able to get something really cool going and be like, hey, by the way, I've got all this material written that we can lay down. In the meantime, keep trying to find people. Look online. You never know. You might get lucky. Best of luck to you, dude. Hey guys, just gonna break in here for a sec, let you know about my brand new tutorial. It's called Mixing Symphonic Folk Metal featuring the band Protocol. The song's called Flight of the Winged Hussar. You've been hearing it for the last 4 years on the show. A lot of you guys have been asking about it. It's 75 tracks, it's 7 hours, and there's even a premium version of the lesson where you get my IR pack and an extra hour-long lesson on how to mix with IRs. If you want to learn how to blend massive metal mixes with tons of keyboards and all kinds of crazy vocals and shit, this is the lesson you've been looking for. I'll have a link for it in the description below. Anyway, let's get back to the show.
Okay, so you don't mic up a hi-hat, but what about a ride?
Depends on the drummer and the ride. A lot of rides are really fucking loud, especially when the drummers start going on the bell. Ding, 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 ding. So usually that's not hard to get in the overheads. If it's a little lacking, yes, you can mic that up. And Andy Sneap came up with a really cool trick, and that's mic the bell from underneath. That way you don't have to worry about the drummer hitting it. You can put a super expensive mic there, and it's gonna sound fucking really cool as well. Give that a shot. Hopefully it works out for you.
Hey Glenn, could you someday analyze a bad bedroom mix that you think other bad bedroom mixers can learn from? Oh, and fuck you, Glenn.
Kinda did that on Merciless Metal Mix Reviews last summer. Some kid sent me in a mix. I thought he was trolling us, and I just shut it off because it was so bad. And the kid freaked! And he went on Reddit and made this huge hate thread about how I'm this horrible person and I was gonna ruin his fucking chances of ever having a career, and just a slight fucking overreaction there, kid. I never quite got that. If you're gonna fucking submit a song that's to a show called Merciless Metal Mix Reviews, and then you're expecting mercy, I don't fucking get it. So I tread lightly because that left a horrible taste in my mouth. Look, I don't want to turn people off to a recording, but a little reality check every now and then really helps. It's like, yes, it was a very bad mix, and you're only gonna get better. The thing is, where your mix skills were at that point, nobody should be paying you anyway. So I'm thinking about doing this, and I kind of touched on this last summer, and I think we might have a few submissions for this. I'm not sure yet. I have to double check my email, where we're gonna do something called Mix Rescue. And that's where people send me tracks, and I try and look at what they did and see if I can do any better, and hopefully help them figure a way around their problems and make their recording better. I don't know. You guys want to see that? I think that might be a fun show. Would you be willing to submit your tracks to Mix Rescue? Please let me know. Leave a comment. I want to hear from you guys.
Hey Glenn, have you ever managed to miraculously do a great mix of a song that wasn't recorded properly and it was a pain in the ass or not? Fuck you from the Netherlands, and greetings, Wilmer Wallerberg.
Hey Wilmer, great question. The short answer is no. Oh man, yeah, you can't polish a turd. You can roll it in glitter, but it's still gonna stink like shit. If somebody sends you bad tracks, the best you're gonna get is a mediocre mix. The trick is to get it right on the way in and not spend so much time fucking around on the way out.
I've seen you say so many times now, who the hell is pressing CDs or similar? We still usually make more money with CDs from our shows than we do from our cut of the door. Even though I rarely buy CDs from record stores these days, I still regularly pick them up at shows myself. Still very worthwhile for underground bands, in my opinion.
All right, that's cool. That's exactly the kind of answer I was looking for. That's great. You know what? Come to think of it, I think the last commercial CD I bought, I think it was 3 Inches of Blood sometime back around 2006, or maybe it was Second Great Awakening from Fireball Ministry. Great fucking record, by the way. But I think the last actual CD I bought was from a band called Courage My Love, and that was a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago at one of their shows. The band Shortcut to Last was playing that I worked with, and I was just blown away by this little 90-pound pixie they had behind the drums. It was just fucking killing them. And I was super impressed with that band, so I bought the CD. I was kind of disappointed with the production, to be honest with you. But wow, that band live really had something going on. So yeah, there you go. And again, support the bands. I get that. So yeah, you know what? Maybe there is still some fucking logic to pressing CDs, as long as you're gigging a lot. And guys, a little context for this next comment. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned the Great White Show at the bar called The Station, which burned down and people got caught in the exits, and there were some deaths, and it was a pretty horrific situation. Anyway, got a very interesting comment on that whole situation I think I really should share with you guys.
As for the station fire, a good portion of that foam was put in the early 90s under the previous owners. It used to be called the filling station back then. If you watch that video, the older packing foam started burning immediately after the gerbs were set off and got exponentially worse from there. I know this because I was the sound man for the Thursday night house band Strut back then. I was also asked to do before and after DB readings outside. I told them back in 92, 93, this material was a fire hazard and did fuck all as soundproofing. Couple that with a horrible emergency egress, no fire suppression system in place, and the club was over capacity. It was a tragedy waiting to happen. There are many of us from that area that are still pissed and saddened that all this could have been avoided if proper inspections were done over the decade before this happened. Whatever you read in Maxim isn't the whole truth, Glenn. We lost friends and family, and many more were horribly maimed in that senseless tragedy.
Ken, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. It's so great to hear from somebody who was personally involved in that whole situation. Again, I only had second-hand information to go from, so thank you so much for your contribution there. All I can say is, wow, I'm so sorry all that happened, and it obviously should have never happened, and yeah, the steps should have been in place. You know, I've seen situations like this before where bars are over capacity, and I've always said to myself, you know what? It's not worth dying over. I don't care who the fuck is playing. I remember going to see Sepultura on the fucking Chaos AD tour at Harpo's in Detroit. And that place, I walked in and it looked like there was about 500 more people than should have been in that building. They definitely oversold that night. You know what I did? I hung out in the lobby by the exits. Because I knew if something happened and there was a stampede, people were going to die. I wanted to be on the other side of that door before things went bad. And a couple of years ago in Windsor, a band I worked with called Assassinate the Following, they had their final show, and it was at a place called the Dominion House. And this place has been there since the mid-1800s. It's a fucking fire trap. And they oversold the basement. It was just packed to the gills. And I know the bar owner there, he seems like a decent dude. I don't know if somebody wasn't doing their due diligence there, but the place was definitely oversold and it was definitely a fucking fire trap. And again, the exits weren't very large. I stood on the other side of the door and watched the show from outside, and I was there to fucking haul people out if things got bad. If there was a fire there, I knew there would be a stampede and things would go bad. Again, you know where you're going, know the crowd, and know your fucking exits, kid, because no show is worth dying over.
Hey Glenn, another cheap alternative on the acoustic treatment is towels. Layer, then up, and it makes a big difference.
Steven, I think that's a great suggestion, but I will say proceed with caution considering the last comment we had about the station fire. You might want to look into the towels you're buying, make sure they've got some kind of flame retardant or something like that. Last thing you want to be doing is putting a great big ignition source around your studio. But then again, they usually don't have massive fires in fabric stores either, so, you know, there is that to consider. I do want to try the towels thing out at some point. I think it would definitely be worth checking out. And yeah, you can get towels for fairly cheap, and maybe even if you go to a secondhand store, you can get them really cheap. Definitely something worth investigating. You might have to run a few loads of laundry, though.
Hey Glenn, as you were talking about the Behringer 88, I wondered if you could do a Fearless Gear review on the Behringer UMC 1820. Feature-wise, it's similar to the Focusrite 18920, but roughly half the price. My biggest fear, though, is driver stability.
Renee, that's a phenomenal suggestion. I definitely want to take a look at that. I will put that on the list for Fearless Gear. I think that's something we can do right here in Harmony. Should be fairly affordable, and yeah, I'll give it the gears and see what it can do. Thanks for the suggestion, dude.
Hey Glenn, is that a blue and black 1176 in the bottom left corner? I have a plug-in emulations of them both, but never really knew the difference between them. How do you use them?
Well, actually, what we got back here is a real Universal Audio 1176, and then we've got the Stam Audio version, which has like 3 or 4 different revisions in, and you could just hit a switch to go between the various versions. Pretty damn cool. I want to shoot those guys out against each other, and I want to shoot them out against software as well and just see what's really going on. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting episode. Props to Stam, though, for making those and making them affordable. Definitely cool stuff. I've got the SA2A back at my studio. We've got a real LA2A down here in the credenza as well, and they both seem very similar to me in many regards, so I can't wait to try out the 1176.
I use reverb. Say I want to use reverb on a couple track under the same bus folder. Why would I need to create a new empty track and add reverb to it and do the send thing when I can just add reverb to the main folder? Also, why can I even do that sends when I can just add reverb on each individual track besides convenience? Finally, for what kinds of effects do you usually make that send thing? Do you like stuff like compressors, EQ, qualify for this as well?
Wow, so many questions. Okay, yes, number one, convenience. Yes, you want to work conveniently. Don't make it more fucking difficult. Ugh. Why do musicians always insist on making things more difficult? The send thing, you don't want to put it on a master track because you want to be able to send levels differently depending on the instrument. Like say on a drum set, you're going to want to throw more snare going to your reverb than more kick. At least that's how I do. I barely put any reverb on my kick. But I usually got a fair amount on the snare and the toms. And you can tweak those individually. If you just put it across a master fader and do that, you're not going to be able to tweak that nearly as much. So control is the reason. And yes, I use sends for reverb. I use it for delays like on guitars or vocals or that kind of thing. And yes, you can use sends for, say, drum crush buses where you're like just spanking the living shit out of a drum mix. Again, the same reason why, so you can throw more snare on it than kick. That kind of thing. It's definitely worth exploring. And if you guys are confused what I'm talking about, please check out my episode called Why You Need to Mix with Buses.
Hey Glenn, what music player do you use when playing all those freshly rendered tracks? I'm using VLC and Win Media Player with no EQs, but I'm sure something's not right. Sorry for my English, thanks for your tips, and fuck you, Glenn, from the Philippines.
Outstanding, man. Thank you so much for writing in. I love hearing from people all over the world. Here's something I'm going to ask. Next time you guys leave a comment or a question and you're outside North America, let us know. Let us know where you're writing from. I think that's really fucking cool. As for your actual question about VLC, yeah, that's what I use to listen to is VLC. I use that for all my audio and video. I don't throw any EQ on or anything like that. If your playback's not sounding great, you might want to work on your mix just a little bit more.
Guys, I was wondering, is a real compressor that necessary for vocals when it comes to recording? Can a VST do the thing?
Mark, the short answer, absolutely it can. The Shep's Omnichannel, the compressor on the Shep's Omnichannel is a personal software favorite of mine. It is just absolutely fucking wicked. It's so versatile. You can do so many different things with it. The Waves SSL bus compressor is really great. Not so much for vocals, but for mixes, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's some really great software out there. Let's just put it this way, though. I don't think I'm going to be giving up my hardware to Stressor anytime soon. But yes, software will get the job done, but the hardware will do it just a little bit better.
Are you full-time now?
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for asking. The shorter answer is not quite yet. I'm almost there. I'm like first in goal. Just got to move a couple different elements into place. And yes, I'm going full-time on YouTube. But thanks again for asking. I really appreciate it, man.
Dan, the band was great in this episode. Fucking loved that riff. Please don't hit yourself too much to other YouTubers. I watch you because you're honest and you don't try to sell us anything but your own IRs. In the sea of bullshit, you are a life raft. Please don't ever change that.
Hey, Jason, I really appreciate that. That's one thing I've always tried to do. If I'm doing a sponsored video from a gear manufacturer, I always make sure it's something I would actually use on a record of my own. Otherwise, I wouldn't take the sponsorship. And they've definitely turned down a few bucks along the way while doing that. That being said, yes, I sell my IRs and my lessons too. Don't forget, I've got that brand new one, mixing symphonic folk metal that's just come out a little while back. And it even has a bonus version where you can get my IR pack at a great discount. Definitely worth checking out. Anyway, yes, more Fearless gear reviews are coming. I definitely want to check out that Behringer unit. I'm definitely going to be checking out some more software amp sims. So I'll make the sacrifice and buy it outright so I can tell you guys what I really think of it, because I think we need more of that. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, why the hell not? Seriously, though, hit the fucking subscribe button. I'll see you next week for episode 200 of SMG Viewers Comments. And yes, I've got something special planned. I think you guys are going to dig it. Hey, guys, if you like the video, be sure to subscribe as I post every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. If you want to learn more about recording, check out one of my tutorials or one of my gear reviews if you want the actual honest truth about a piece of equipment. Till next time, stay metal, my friends.